Most veterans get stuck before they even file their VA claim. Here's exactly where to start. In today's video, I'll walk you through the first steps the right way. Start strong, or your claim will struggle the entire way. Make sure you stick around. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran, retired VA rating specialist, and your VA claim nugget man. Before I get into today's video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. So today's video, what are some of the first steps you want to take before you file that VA claim? So let's go ahead and break it down. Step one, file your intent to file. First action you should take, protect your effective date. Now, regardless of who you work with, a VSO, claims agent, lawyer, consulting company, it does not matter. You want to protect your effective date. The intent to file gives you up to 12 months, 365 days to gather evidence before submitting your VA claim. What is the easiest way that you can do this? You can call 1-800-827-1000. I'm going to repeat that number again, 1-800-827-1000. Okay? And let them know you want to do or submit an intent to file for compensation. That's key, people. Okay. There's other things that you can be claiming, but when you call that number, you want to make sure intent to file for compensation. Make sure the VA confirms the date as the date locks in your potential back pay. Yes. Once you do that intent to file, the VA says, you know what? We're going to take 6 months. We're going to take 8 months. We're going to take 10 months. Hopefully they don't. The entire time, that's building up your back pay if you get service connected. So you can see where I'm going with this, all right? It's only going to benefit you, the veteran. Don't start gathering evidence without filing an intent to file first, okay? A lot of veterans, they just start gathering evidence and they don't think, hey, I need to do an intent to file, or some don't know. And then by this time, 6 months have lapsed while they're collecting all this evidence, and then they do the intent to file. Make sure first thing, intent to file. Step two, know what you want to claim. I talk about this in my first book, VA Claim Success, and you can find it in a graph on page 13 of that book, okay? So you have to ask yourself, what conditions am I claiming? All right? Write down everything that hurts, okay? But keep in mind, that does not mean it falls under the different ways of service connection or automatic service connection, okay? List each condition separately. Don't lump them together. What I mean by this, I've seen veterans, as a former rater, I've seen veterans claim upper back, middle back, lower back. The thoracolumbar spine covers the entire back. Even they'll say back pain, back strain, arthritis in the back. And they think, oh, I'm going to get 10% for all these separate back conditions. No, the VA is going to clump them together, okay? Cervical strain, cervical arthritis, cervical pain. That's all going to be lumped into one condition. Here's another example. Major depressive disorder, PTSD, anxiety. That's all going to be lumped together because mental is mental. Now, this is something you want to think about. The different ways of service connection. Let's run through them. You have direct service connection. You have secondary service connection. You have presumptive service connection, aggravation service connection, pre-service aggravation. And then you have 1151 claims. You haven't heard me talk about 1151 that much, but don't worry about it. Guess what? I got a video on my channel explaining 1151 claims. Also, claims for increase in service connected conditions, meaning you're already service connected and you feel that condition has worsened since your last CMP exam. Now, what do you want to do? Be specific. Migraines secondary to tinnitus, PTSD due to combat while serving in Southwest Asia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you see where I'm going, right? Not just head issues. So if you're claiming migraine secondary to tinnitus, it's not head issues. It's migraine secondary to tinnitus. Also, no long and unclear statements. I've seen veterans write pages and pages of a lay statement, and then the VSR or the RVSR is confused as to what you're claiming. Now, when that happened to me as a rater, guess what I did? I deferred it and I informed the VSR to send a correspondence to the veteran. Hey, confirm exactly what you're claiming. Okay. Step 3, get a diagnosis for each condition. Do not expect that CMP examiner to provide you a diagnosis. Go ahead and be proactive and get that diagnosis. The VA requires a current diagnosed disability. No diagnosis, no claim. Now, have I seen veterans file a claim? Let's say, for example, PTSD due to combat, go to CMP exam, and they get a diagnosis? Yes, but why leave that to chance? Already be proactive and get it yourself. See your doctor, urgent care, VA provider, or specialist to obtain that diagnosis. Tell the provider, I need an evaluation for X condition because I'm filing a VA claim. All right. Now, here's a nugget. Whatever diagnosis you get, you need to understand where does it fall under the different ways of service connection. It's not just, oh, everything hurts. Okay. That's not the way it works. It has to fall under one of the different ways that I previously discussed of service connection. All right. One diagnosis per condition. Okay. Make sure you do that. You do not want to skip that step. All right. VA must accept private evidence under 38 CFR 3.326. Okay. This includes DBQs and Nexus statements. Some VA employees go against their training in this particular regulation and try to refuse to use DBQs and Nexus statements. Now, there's other regulations and references out there that talk about evidence. I even have several videos on my YouTube channel talking about evidence. All right, let's keep going. Step number 4, gather relevant evidence. Don't overload your claim. Stay relevant. A lot of veterans like to go out and get tons and tons, well, not tons, but a lot of evidence. And a lot of it doesn't even pertain to the condition they're claiming. They'll just say, hey, give me everything that you have on me and send it to the VA and say, here, VSR, RVSR, Dro, you read it and figure it out. Wrong thing to do. Take the time, go through it. And if, let's say you're claiming a right knee condition, pull out everything that's one is what? Showing a diagnosis for the right knee and anything else pertaining to that right knee or any condition that you're claiming. Also, service treatment records, okay? Because we know if you're filing a claim as direct service connection, it's going to have to show a link in service, okay? Private medical records showing current symptoms, okay? Now, here's another nugget. That's why I say, hey, I'm your VA claim nugget man. I'm dropping a lot of nuggets in this video. When you do that intent to file, one thing that I didn't talk about that you should be doing, I talked about it briefly, but not this way. Identify your examiners where you're going to be getting treatment throughout this VA claim process. Okay. Because once they become familiar with reviewing your records, with you, your diagnosis, and what you went through in the military, it's going to be easy for them to update those progress reports. So when you send them to the VA, guess what? You got that diagnosis. It shows your daily impact. All right. Super simple, people. DBQ and Nexus letters if you need to establish connection. Okay. Some vets are just trying to only get a Nexus. You know, a lot of you have called me over the past couple of weeks saying, Dwayne, I got a Nexus. And I'm like, where's the DBQ? Where's the DBQ? Because guess what? When you look at the VA's rating scheduler for the condition that you're claiming, that criteria is not in the Nexus statement. Guess where it's at? It's in the DBQ. Okay. Then what do you have? Buddy statements to fill in the gaps. If you still know individuals or you still communicate with individuals that you served with in the military, all right? Maybe find them on Facebook, reach out to them and see if they will write you a buddy statement, okay? Quality over quantity. Just because you have 500, 600, 700 pages of evidence doesn't mean your claim will get granted. Also, check this out. Someone has to read that. If you send that amount of paperwork in, someone has to read it. So don't be surprised if there are some delays in your VA claim. Now, I know I said things you need to do before you file that claim, but guess what? I'm gonna give you some bonus material. Let's keep going. Step number 5, file the claim. Use the VA form 21-526CZ or file on va.gov. Now, I was going through this process again, and I even talk about this in my second book, the VA Compensation Blueprint, where I'm filing an example claim. I'm completing that 526EZ and using the quick submit link to upload it, okay? Or other prescribed forms you may use, all right? So if you're claiming IU, you got that 8940, okay? List each condition clearly and separately. Take a paragraph. If you're claiming PTSD, that paragraph, boom, PTSD. Migraines, another paragraph, you're explaining migraines. Tinnitus, another paragraph, and you're talking about tinnitus, okay? Ensure your supporting evidence is uploaded cleanly. Also, here's another nugget, people. And I'm giving some nuggets away in this video. Think about this. Let's say you file a claim for bilateral flat feet. You want to look at that diagnostic code criteria. And then you want to look at your evidence. Okay. So if you meet the 30% criteria for bilateral pes planus, make sure that evidence supports the criteria for the 30% under that diagnostic code. And do that for every single claim. You know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna give another bonus. Okay. Prepare for your CMP exam. How do you do that? When they call you, hey, confirm which exams are you showing up for. If it's a mental, ask them, is it a mental condition I'm showing up for? Especially if you file major depressive disorder secondary to tinnitus, PTSD due to combat. If it's mental, you'll know, yep, I claim that. And then look at the diagnostic code criteria percentage you feel you meet. And then when you get to the CMP exam, you're talking about that evidence that you submitted. Okay. If it's tinnitus, it's going to be an audio exam. Check out the 2 videos I have on my channel, how to win your claim for tinnitus. So I hope this clears up what you need to do before you file that VA compensation claim. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, Share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.